Well, we're getting back on track. We've got the brackets up to mount. I found the brackets. I don't know if I mentioned that I couldn't find the brackets, but I found the brackets, and so now we're going to put the blind up. Just making sure it's level. Discovered, it's trying to match that blind over there, which the window is the same distance from the ceiling as this one. So I thought, well, then I should put the blind at the same height, and was doing some measurements, and it turns out that this top of the window isn't level. This is about the end of where they rebuilt. So they didn't actually rebuild this window piece. So this is either no longer level because the house was moved, or from the impact, or just because it's an old house and the house is changing direction. But the ceiling is. So I measured down from the ceiling, and hopefully it's close enough that it will fool the eye if it's not exactly right. It's been a long time since I popped one of these in place. As I recall, these are about the easiest damn blinds I've ever had to put up. Now, the hard part's going to be trying to get it level, because they're not level, but you can see it's longer than the window because this wasn't made for this window. I'm just hoping it's long enough to cover this window. I don't know what the measurements are. But as I recall, you put that there, and then you're done. That's how I recall. That's pretty good. All right. The last thing is, I don't know if I should use one or two. I guess I'll put two in. There's these little plastic bits that go in. I'm looking at the other one there. They go on like, I think you have to pull this down. Okay, that works. Don't need the safety glasses anymore. Can't see with them on anyway. Yeah. You go on like that, and like that. And then you've got lined up. It's just barely long enough. Wow, that almost looks like it was made for it. I'm pleased. I'm pleased with that. The dogs will be happy now. I can put their kennels back and clean up this room finally, and again, because it's a mess once more. And they can go back and they can be in this room and sleep at night in their nice comfy soft beds. I'm doing my wall drilling today. Whenever I'm doing the exterior walls, you're always risking that the drywall is right up against the red brick, and you know, those can be hard. Now that room in there was furring, so the holes went through the drywall into a small dead space, so I had to use mollies there. I'm going to put in this corner over here these shelf brackets, and also that corner over there. And then I'm going to put a small pair of Bose speakers that I've had sitting around for a while as my surround channel. So if I'm going to go all out on this entertainment system, I might as well get my surround sound going. Alright, I've got the first one in place. It looks pretty good. I think my measurements were right. The speakers are meant to sit on a cabinet. They don't have any kind of securing mechanism. I'm kind of, I don't know, tempted to maybe just take a tiniest little screw and put it through the bracket into the bottom of the speaker. Just not far enough to penetrate the wall of the speaker, but just far enough that there would be something there to keep it from moving from the vibration. I don't think that would be a problem. I showed you that I got the new speakers mounted up to the wall, but what I didn't get done was connecting them into the stereo. And the reason is that, oh, look how old I am, stereo receiver. The reason I didn't get them connected was no cable. No cable. So I had to do some measuring, and I need about 38 foot for one piece and about 28 foot for the other. So I'm going to try to get about 75 foot of cable, and for that length the manufacturer recommends 16 gauge stranded cable. I went to Home Depot last night to pick up the cable, and what we had was 14 gauge and 18 gauge, but all the places for 16 gauge were out, or they'd say this was 16 gauge, but they'd have 14 gauge cable there. So we're going to try Lowe's, which is a competitor to Home Depot here in the United States, and if not Lowe's, then Fry's Electronics and Best Buy are next door to them. 240 approximately, and I think we're done with major operations for the day. Well, you can't see it there, but pointing that way, the speakers are in place. The cables have been run around the room, all the way down into the stereo system there. And they work. I get sound out of them. Not convinced I've got the surround sound configured correctly yet. Obviously, I don't have a center channel. Should be able to simulate that. I don't have a subwoofer either. Still should be able to get something out of it, but I didn't either. I don't have something that's a really good test. Remember when stereos used to have a test function on them to blast that out? Anyway, that didn't work. I also broke down and picked up a new Logitech Harmony Ultimate Home remote control, and that's one of these guys. I have an older Logitech Harmony remote, I think a 700 maybe, this one, but it doesn't charge anymore, so even with battery rechargeable batteries in it, it was having trouble with its new stereo equipment. So it's never worked right with the Apple TV because it's Bluetooth, and so they had them on a hell of a deal at Costco, under $100. So got one, I configured it, and it's all working, and that's all working fine. So between that, it's been a stereo day. I also vacuumed and mopped the kitchen. And when I say I did it, my robot vacuum did it, and my robot moppy thing did it. So, but I did it. It's me. I put it on there with my mind. I said, you do this. So that's it. That's all I feel like doing today. I'm going to sit back and watch some TV. Enjoy the sound system. Although I'll probably be screwing around with trying to figure out why the explosions aren't going off behind my head. Bang, and stuff like that. Maybe I need something with my... I have to find something that I genuinely know has a really good surround presentation to work on this. I will try to keep this down to not quite as much talking, but here it is, it's talking. Again, a couple days ago we talked about the stereo system and how it was, well, the TV was giving me trouble with the black and white, and how I'd put in the new receiver and I still had the problem. Well, I had one other idea, and it didn't make a lot of sense. But then the whole thing didn't make a lot of sense. So I can't go out on the limb and say, well, it can't be this. I have seen situations on electronic equipment in the past where, specifically when you're talking about inputs and outputs, let's say you've got input A, and you're using input A, and you're not using input B at all. You're just using input A. And in fact, you could ignore B. B doesn't exist. You're not doing anything with it. And you're having a problem with the whatever. And you have a cable plugged into input B, but it's not doing anything. And logically, you'd think, well, then that's eliminated from the equation. But if you remove the cable from B, suddenly A works fine. Now, that's incredibly rare. I've probably seen that twice in my life, and I can't even remember exact circumstances where that occurs. And I don't know why something like that can occur. But clearly something is coming in. I don't know. Is it a short circuit? Is it a fault with the port? Is it a fault with the cable that's plugged in? I don't know. My TV has been working fine now all day yesterday, all evening the night before, and I haven't tried it today, but yesterday when I was setting up the remote, I had it on and off at least 50 times. Never a flaw. Also, I had noticed, and I don't know how this works. I don't understand how this works. I watch a lot of YouTube, and most of it's fine. But the YouTube videos that are supplied by Late Night with Seth Meyers always look yellow. Sickly yellow, like he had a Donald Trump suntan. But the other videos did not. And I just assumed that it was something to do with the Seth Meyers videos, because it was just his videos. Well, day before yesterday, I think I mentioned we have the Wii, and the Wii is component. And I can't send that through the receiver anymore. I have to send it directly to the TV. And I had set it up. I hadn't bothered to try to configure it or anything, but I had plugged it in because I wanted to put the TV back into the space. When I removed that, I haven't had a single problem with the TV since. Not a single problem. Now remember, prior to this, that cable was hooked into the receiver, and then the receiver was hooked into the TV with a different component cable, not the one that comes directly off the Wii. So I can't guarantee this is what was causing the problem. It could be coincidence. It could be something else that I can't account for. But when I removed that cable, the TV has been fine on every turn on since then. And the videos of Seth Meyers aren't yellow anymore. I don't know what's going on there. But I'm going to let the TV go for a couple weeks. And after that, then I might try plugging the Wii back in to see if the problem comes back. But I'm not going to tempt fate right now. I'm enjoying having it. I'm enjoying having it working. I'll also say about the surround sound. I mentioned earlier in this video that I wasn't sure the surround sound was working. I admit, I tried, first I tried Moonraker. I've got these beautiful remastered Blu-rays. If you've ever got the 50th anniversary James Bond Blu-ray set, they did such an amazing job at restoring those films. And they added DTS and Dolby Stereo to them. However, so I tried the opening section of Moonraker, which is a 79 film, which obviously was not originally shot in Dolby, I don't think, or recorded in Dolby. And I was hoping that the parachuting sequence would have some cool spatial sound effects, but No evidence of that. So then I tried Last Jedi, which we just purchased. And obviously that's going to be in Dolby Surround and DTS and whatnot. Could not really notice. I mean, I can hear the speakers, but I'm not getting any spatial awareness. So that was the point where I said I wasn't sure if it was working. Well, later on I plunked in, if you can believe this, classic Star Trek. The Blu-ray remasters with the digital effects and everything. And I watched the Doomsday Machine, which is a lot of space battles and a lot of spaceships traveling to and fro. And yeah, absolutely, it's working. Absolutely, it's working. The Enterprise flies from corner to corner just perfectly. So if you get the right conditions, it works. And so I'm very happy. So right at the moment, TV, AV receiver, everything's working